and meet there a group of Mungiki in a tent with the President, with Ambassador Muthara, and several others.
Your Honours, I did not attend any meeting with Mungiki or anybody else at State House. That date that is being referred to, or for that matter on any other date.
Did you go to State House that morning to meet the young people or the youth who had assembled in a special meeting with President Kibaki to present a youth charter? Were you part of that event on the 26th of November?
No, Your Honours, I was not part of that event because I was not one of the organisers of the event. Those who attended, I think, were the organisers of the event that, or the rally that was there at Uhuru Park. So in attendance, I think it was Kibaki Tena, if I'm not wrong, Kibaki Tena, who had organised that rally, and I think it was their members who had attended. And like I said, when we as KANU joined the Kibaki Alliance, we had our youth representative, who was a member now of Kibaki Tena as part of the presidential campaign. So he attended as a member of the Kibaki Tena team. We did not attend since, like I said, we were not even organizers of that rally. We just attended the rally in our capacity as party leaders.
You saw the video clip that was shown during these proceedings of President Kibaki on that day at State House, filmed with the young people. Had you seen that video clip before?
I had seen that video clip before, yes.
Did you recognize, I don't want you to name names, but did you recognize people within that video clip as people you knew?
The two people I can say I recognized in that video was Mr. Badi Ali, who was the KANU youth representative, who is in that video, and Ambassador Kamati, who was a member of my, was part of my presidential campaign team. So those two I did recognize from the video.
And do those people know you?
Yes, they do.
So let's now find out what the purpose of going to the KICC on that date of the 26th of November actually was. What was happening when we saw you and other people going up a red carpet into the building?
Your Honours, as I had said earlier, we had first and foremost gone through a period of party nominations. And that was the problem I was telling you we were experiencing in trying to sort out all the nomination problems that were going on. On that particular day, it was the day after the nominations now had been concluded and party candidates had now gone to submit their final certificates to their respective returning officers in the constituencies. So we now had parliamentary and civic candidates, and there was a meeting of parliamentary and civic candidates from all over the country at KICC that was supposed to have been chaired by President Kibaki, because that was pretty much now the beginning of the main campaign period. However, like I said, we were having major problems with the nominations because there were many who did not accept the results of the nominations, and hence went and submitted still their names to the Electoral Commission under different parties. So what then was supposed to have been an opportunity for President Kibaki to meet candidates who had been sponsored under now PNU became now quite chaotic, because all the other candidates who had lost the nominations and had gone forward and presented their papers were also present at the meeting. So it became again quite chaotic, to the point that President Kibaki, who was supposed to come and address us, did not come and address us at that particular meeting, and it was the Vice President who then took charge of the meeting.
When did you know that President Kibaki was going to skip the meeting, which is the headline in the newspaper we have seen?
I think the Vice President informed us, after we had tried to go through the sorting out of who would be allowed in the meeting and who would not be allowed into the meeting, and we couldn't sort that out. That was around 11 when the Vice President informed us that the President would not be coming to KICC, but instead the President had said that he would give all members, including those who were standing on other political parties, he would give all members lunch at the Intercontinental Hotel. So it was at that stage then that the meeting sort of was abandoned, and we all moved to the Intercontinental for the lunch that President Kibaki now was going to give all members who were present at that meeting, whether they were PNU or from other parties, so long as they were supporting him, Your Honours.
If I can now ask you about timing on that particular day, can you recollect when the meeting at the KICC that we've seen on the film, when that started, or when you arrived?
I think we were arriving somewhere towards 9 o'clock or so in the morning.
And what time did you leave the KICC?
I think it was just must have been around 12:30, because we all basically stayed there. The Intercontinental was walking distance, so we didn't really need to move from the place. So we all pretty much stayed there until the lunch appointment at the Intercontinental, which was walking distance from the Kenyatta International Conference Center.
And did President Kibaki go to the lunch that he'd organized?
Yes, Your Honours, President Kibaki did eventually come to the lunch.
And when was the first time that you saw him that day?
Your Honours, it was at the lunch, when he came to the lunch.
Let's move on now to the elections of 2007. I'm going to go to that period at 30th of December 2007, when the election result was declared. And we know that that declaration took place at the KICC. Had you been to the KICC on the days before the final election result was announced?
Yes, Your Honours. On top of being a presidential campaigner during the elections, all of us who were really presidential campaigners or coordinators of the presidential campaign were also presidential agents. And therefore, after the elections were done and I had cast my ballot in my home constituency of Gatundu South, I then proceeded later in the evening to the Kenyatta International Conference Center to begin my duty as a presidential agent at the National Tallying Center.
Can you remember which date that was prior to the 30th of December?
Your Honors, if the election was on the 27th, it was from the 27th night that we began our duties at the Kenyatta International Conference Center.
We know from evidence the returns started to come in, culminating in the final tally on the 30th of December. And so on each of those days before the 30th, would you attend the KICC as part of your duties?
Your Honors, we basically lived at KICC until the 30th when the final results were announced from the 27th.
At the time of the announcement of the result on the 30th of December, what was the atmosphere like in the KICC? What was happening amongst the political groups?
Your Honor, as well, it was quite highly charged. The atmosphere at KICC was quite highly charged because as the results were coming in, there were times when it looked like the ODM was ahead, but then there were other results being waited for, and then the PNU would go ahead. But ultimately, it became even more charged when it now became clear that PNU now was not only just closing the gap, but had also now, or the PNU candidate, in this case Mwai Kibaki, was closing the gap and was now coming closer to Raila Odinga. And at that time, we started hearing all sorts of comments. The results now are being rigged, the results that are coming in are not correct, etc., etc. So the atmosphere was charged.
Before the result was announced and before this period at the KICC, had you had any information that your political rivals were going to make those allegations that the election was rigged if they lost?
Yes, Your Honors, it was already in the media. It was in the media with various press conferences that had been held by a number of ODM leaders alleging that there was a plot that was being hatched to rig the elections.
And was there a plot to rig the elections?
Your Honors, not that I was aware of, no.
In relation to reaction around the country, around Kenya, at that time on the 30th of December, when the result was announced, did you have any information at that time as to the feelings, what was happening, what the reaction was to it?